Okay, so good morning, everyone. Trust we are doing fine. So today we are going to look at project quality management. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can hear you very well.
All right, project quality management. All right, this aspect is very simple and also very tricky. So I just need you to try and understand the concept. And if you are able to understand the concept, then we are good to go. So now we're going to look at, is it possible to achieve quality in a project? All projects, is it possible for us to achieve quality in our project? Then, what is quality? And how do we know we have achieved quality? And who determines quality in a project? You agree with me that there are different standards, definitions, understandings regarding what quality is and what quality stands for by different organizations and different methodologies in this subject matter on quality. But we must also take note that it is actually because of the lack of this quality, or probably when project managers pay much or pay less attention to quality, it can often result to rework or defect. And that also can lead to what we refer to as waste of resources and wasting of time, and probably can also lead to missing the scheduled deadline and probably the project objective. So you can see that a single lack of attention on quality can result to many more things that you can handle in your project, such as we have mentioned, rework or defect. So that is why it is very important that as a project manager, you focus on quality. And when we say focus on quality, we are indirectly saying that focus more on spending your time preventing rather than dealing with problem. It is better to prevent the problem than dealing with the problem. And that is the concept behind quality. All right. So if you look at what we have on the screen, according to the PMBOK, they have explained that quality refers to the degree to which a project fulfills requirement. The degree to which a project fulfills requirement. If you look at this definition of what quality is, you will not be wondering, well, quality is a standard, quality is a measure, is a benchmark. All right. All these are very, very correct as it relates to what quality is. But according to the PMBOK, all right, which will be the basis for your examination, quality refers to the degree to which project fulfills requirement. Now we're going to look at this definition, degree. So which means there is no absolute particular standard for every project. So which means every project have their degree of quality. And how do you measure that degree of quality is dependent on who? The customer. And if we rephrase that statement, who determines quality in a project? It is not the project manager that determines quality, it is the customer. So it is the degree to which a customer inform you that this is our standard of quality that automatically becomes the standard of quality. And how do you know if quality has been achieved in a project? Quality can be achieved in a project when you are able to fulfill the requirement. And who do you get the requirement from in a project? You can still remember, from the customer or the stakeholders. Is that clear? From this definition, I've explained what quality is, when we achieve quality, and who determines quality. Is that clear, please? Hello, Wale, are you there? Is that clear? Godwin?
It's clear.
All right. So please take note of that trick. So this now brings us to the earliest definition when we explain about um, scope management. And if you can still remember in our discussion on scope management, I told you that the first process is collect requirement. And you can still see the effect of that requirement. The effort in that collect requirement process has what or two things you can do to ensure you have a very good quality for your project. All right. So now take note. If you do not have all the stated and the unstated requirements, then it becomes impossible to achieve quality for your project. So if we reverse that statement, to achieve quality in your project, you must have both the stated and unstated requirements defined in your project scope statement or your requirement documentation. So you can see that all the effort of the requirement you have collected so far is in your requirement documentation. Okay, I hope that is clear.
Yes.
All right. So now, what then is project quality management? Now we just define what quality is. We've defined that, yes, if for instance I ask you what quality, oh, you said is a standard, is a benchmark, is this, you are not wrong. But according to the PMBOK, that is what quality is. And I've also mentioned, just for the purpose of Lola that is just joining, that quality is actually measured not based on a global standard, which means there is no particular measure for quality. So the concept of degree in this definition simply shows that every project has its own measure of quality. The measure of quality in Lola's field is different from the measure of quality in the medical field where Wales operates. All right. Or is different from the measure of quality in the construction industry. So which means who determines the quality? What the customer says he wants. And how do you know you've achieved the quality? By simply fulfilling the requirement that the customer has itemized for you to achieve. Now, when we now look at project quality management, we can also look at it from the perspective that we are trying to create following policies and procedures to ensure that the project meets the defined needs it was intended to meet from the customer's perspective. Hello, take note of that statement. From the customer perspective. I repeat it again. We will not talk about project quality management. We are saying that this includes creating and following policies and procedures to ensure that a project meets the defined needs it was intended to meet from the customer perspective. That is what the concept behind project quality management. Please take note. That is the concept. Or we can also likely say that quality management from the project perspective, it means ensuring a project is completed with no deviation from the project requirement. Ensuring a project is completed with no deviation from the project requirement. That becomes quality. And we have seen in several projects when a little deviation occurs, the adverse effect it has on the project as a whole. I don't know how many of us heard of the Ikoyi building, the twins building. Yes, I think Godwin, you will throw more light on that. What do you think was compromised in that project? Hello, Godwin. Can you remember that project,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Ikoyi twins building, the
yeah.
one that collapsed? What do you think was compromised in relation to quality as we are discussing?
Okay. There are some things that were compromised in that structure. Number one, going going beyond the required or approved level of construction. Number two, going using grades of concrete that does not meet specification from the professional's recommendation. And number three, using materials that are substandard. So those are the three main things we can highlight from that collapse.
Uh, okay, thank you very much. So you can say that when this happens, it can bring to rework or defects. And that was the introduction of the class. A lack of attention to quality, please take note. It is a standard statement. A lack of attention to quality means that you are diving in for more rework and defects. And I also mentioned at the beginning of the class, the more rework you have to do, the more time and money you are wasting. Imagine that twins building. If they want to set it up again, it's going to spend more time. They're going to spend more money. And that automatically simply means that they can't meet up with the original project schedule and cost baseline. There will be several excesses that will occur in that project. That is what quality management. Now, according to different definitions in the industry of quality, we are going to consider the quality management expert is more like the total quality management methodology. All right, you know that there's a different certification when you want to become an expert in quality management. All right, I believe you know that. So there are different aspects you may likely want to, oh, okay, I want to become an expert in quality management. So there's a body of total quality management. All right, that's they have their own methodologies as it relates to quality in whatever project, processes, production, whatever thing you are doing. But according to their definition, I want you to also have this as a knowledge base. According to their definition, they didn't just stop at the PMBOK definition. According to the PMBOK definition, we said that quality is defined as the degree to which a project fulfills requirement. But those quality management experts look at that definition and say, well, from our own standing point, we can define quality as, you can see on the screen, conformity to requirement plus fitness of use. Because they have perceived that it is possible that yes, the project fulfills the requirement, but at the end of the day, is not good for use. That is from their own perspective as it relates to what definition of quality. So when we say conformity to requirement, which means all requirements agreed upon are met and present. When we say fitness of use, we are saying that yes, all the requirements that have been met or present should function the way they intend to function. Example, you are developing an e-commerce website to run a business, and part of all the requirements that you have given out for the website has been met. Then you now discover that, okay, yes, it has been met. Then you now decided to say, okay, let me click an item and see if it will bring out all information of that item. You click that item, which was on the screen, and it didn't bring up any information. Inasmuch that the requirement has been met, but the fact that it is not fulfilling the functionality purpose, then it is not fit of use. Is that clear? Hello, Lola, is that clear?
Yes, go on.
All right, good morning. Wale, what about you? Is that clear?
Yes, it is.
All right. Now, at what point? Now, at what point? Now, at what point can we look at conformity to requirement to become a non-conformity or a defect? Simple. Example as I have on the screen. You requested that you want to use a Nigerian made car, and you now went to Innocent Motor because it's a manufacturer of Nigerian made car, or he assembled Nigerian made car, for example. And he was able to, you gave him the specification, you want 2 doors, or better still, you want 1 door, and you want the door to have a butterfly wing instead of you have a butterfly wing, and you want a very comfortable dashboard that can connect with your phone and other devices. You want your lights to be up so that you can see like let's say 50 meters. All right, you want the horn in the vehicle to be so loud. All those little specification. You want the AC component to be on the roof. It shouldn't be facing you directly because it will affect your breathing. You want it to be on the roof. All those different specifications. Oh, you want a speaker to be connected to the boot, whatever specification. At the end of the day, Innocent Motor completed that requirement. He met that specification. Then you now came to inspect. Peradventure, in the process of inspecting, you remember you said you want the door to have a butterfly kind of wings. So if you, in the process of inspecting, the door is not having that butterfly kind of wings, you will notice it, right? And when you notice it, that becomes a case of non-conformity to the requirement or specification you have given to Innocent Motors. And that automatically becomes what refers to as what? A defect. And because there is a defect, automatically it leads to what? A rework. You can't say because of, and you not say, oh, okay, well, since you did not do it as I want, all right, let me take it like that. No, most likely you say, hey, can you work on it because I want the door to have a butterfly wings. So which means Innocent Motor is going to spend more of his resources to ensure that he satisfied that requirement. All right. And that to Innocent Motor becomes what? A defect. It brings about rework when a requirement or specification is missed. Then in the concept of fitness of use, let's now assume that you went to Innocent Motor and you discovered that, oh, all the requirements you have specified, the specification you gave, the doors, the dashboard, the lights, the ACs, the speakers, the way you want the seat to be, and everything is they are all present in that car. Oh, you say, oh, wonderful car. This car is awesome, it's beautiful, it's well customized to meet my need. Then you now told the innocent motor, you say, you know what, can we have a test? Can I test the car? Can I drive it around? You now discover that in the process of trying to enter the car, you know that kind of Nigerian car or all those used car that you'll be struggling to open the door. Then you have to use one hand and raise it up before you now discover that in as much that this car have all the required feature, but trying to open the door is very difficult. I have to use so much energy to raise the door so that I can open it. That becomes what? In as much the door is present as a requirement, but it's not fulfilling the purpose of the door, which is fitness of use. That becomes an error. Or probably maybe it's not the door, it could be the horn or the AC. That you tested the horn to see if it is loud, but you now discover that it's not even making any sound. But the on button is present in the car as a requirement, but it's not making the necessary sound. That becomes error in terms of what? Fitness of use. It's not fulfilling the purpose which it ought to fulfill. Or probably the ACs is not cool enough. When you try to drive it around, you now discover that becomes an error. So which means, is it that there is no AC in the car? Yes, there is AC, which is part of the requirement, but it's not fulfilling the purpose of having the AC in the car. And that becomes what refers to as what? Non-fitness. And that is as a result of errors or bugs. I hope that is clear, please. Is that clear, please? Can I go on?
Yes, please go on.
All right. Now, in modern quality management, there are some basic aspects of modern quality management that is in compliance with our project management. And it has become like a standard for you as the project manager to bear in mind when you are dealing with any project that you want to ensure quality. And what are those modern quality management standards that you must recognize, you must take knowledge of it, you must pay attention to it? Is that your number one priority, even as a project manager, is customer satisfaction? Which simply says that, or which simply explains that you must at all times, as much as possible, meet the customer's requirement. Because when the customer's requirements are met, the customer is more likely to be satisfied. So customer satisfaction is your top priority, and to achieve that is to ensure that the customer's requirements are met. Which means all the requirements, they must be conformance to requirement, and those requirements are fulfilling the purpose which they stand for. That is what? Customer satisfaction. So project managers, whatever project, as long as quality is part of a measure, customer satisfaction is key to the entire project. And that is why if we go back again to that triple triangle we drew sometime at the beginning of the class, when we were talking about competing demand, we said the first edge is scope, the right hand edge is cost, the left hand edge is schedule, and we said that the middle is quality. How you manage the 3-pointer is because you want to achieve quality, which is what? Customer satisfaction. And we have said for customer to be satisfied, there must be conformance to the requirement, which means fulfilling the specification given and ensure that that specification is working as expected. That's number one. Number two is that you must at all times, just like as I introduced in the class, that as a project manager, your focus is not to start solving or dealing with problem in the project. Your focus is to prevent problems in the project. And that explanation brings us to prevention over inspection, which means as a project manager, all effort while you are monitoring and controlling in the project is because of the need to prevent over inspection. And that concept explains to us that you must plan quality in. Please, this grammar is a key grammar. Quality is planned in, designed or built in, but not inspected in. Please, all these are exam questions. So prevention over inspection is key. Prevention over inspection is very, very key. So one of the fundamental thing you must put at the back of your mind is that you are planning for the project and you are planning for quality with a mindset that you want to prevent problem from occurring in the project. Yes, you have a question.
Yes, please, can you give an example of prevention over inspection?
All right. A practical example of prevention over inspection is in a case, for instance, all right, you are working on, let's say, a sensitive project where you need to follow the specifications and implement those specifications according to how it has been documented. And you know that you have the implementer, which is the person to execute it, is most likely to make errors because you have experienced such in previous projects. Prevention over inspection is that instead of you to now carry conscious effort to come and be inspecting the work he will do or he has done, we are saying that in that case, it is better to prevent that case is either you substitute him with somebody who has good knowledge of implementation or you give him more training. The reason you are giving him more training is because you want to prevent, give 0% tolerance to making much errors. That is a practical example of prevention over inspection. So that you as a project manager coming back to say, okay, Wale, hope you follow the specification. Oh yeah, let me go and see. That let you go and see. You are spending more energy to go and see to ensure that he follow the specification rather than training him ahead, giving or substituting him with a more reliable resources to give you the exact result that you want. That is what prevention over inspection. Excuse me, sir. Why do this happen? I don't know if you work in a project that you don't have choice of substituting resources. Why? Because even that resources was recommended by the MD and you're the one managing that resources. There is, in such a case, you must give preference because you know that is your MD's boy. Because I've experienced such. And you cannot just walk up to him and say, well, you know what, you are incompetent. Because you are incompetent, I can't use you again. Well, that will be poor management from your own end. But because you are a proactive project manager, it is expected that you plan that resources in for quality, which means you can either have a one-on-one training with him by yourself or send him for a training course or attach him to somebody who does it better for him to learn and understand how to do it or implement it. I don't know if that is clear, Godwin.
It's clear.
All right, so take note. Excuse me, what is the effect? Is because, take note, what is the effect of being negligent in prevention. What is the effect of um, not planning quality in? Is that the cost of preventing mistake is lesser than the cost of correcting that mistake when found by inspection. It is technical. Why? Because the money you will spend to correct a mistake when you found it as a result of inspection is much more than the money you will spend when you prevent a mistake. Is that clear? Take note. Then other things you need to bear at the back of your mind is that continuous improvement. Just like we've explained at the beginning that one of the characteristics of a project is continuous improvement. That is progressive elaboration. There must be room for improvement in our performance in terms of how we manage quality in our project. And this basis for continuous improvement is in this plan, do, check, act cycle. This is the explanation. If you want to keep experiencing continuous improvement in your processes, in your policies, or in the execution of any project, you plan, you do, which is execute, you check, and you act. This is the cycle. All right. Then management responsibility. Please take note. You must also bear in mind that there are different categories of responsibility as it relates to quality. And what do I need to bear in mind? Please note. Management or the organization or this project sponsor is responsible for quality as a whole in the organization. The senior management, project sponsor, they are what? Responsible for quality as a whole in the organization. The project manager is ultimately responsible for quality of the product of that project. Is responsible for quality of the product of the project because the project produces the product. But the team members who is responsible for performing the task is responsible for completing the task and achieving quality. So you can see the different category. The team member is responsible for quality on the work to be done in terms of the task. The project manager is responsible for quality in terms of the product of the project, while the senior management or the sponsor or the customer is responsible for quality of the entire organization as a whole. What are the impact of poor quality in a project? It increases costs, it brings about low morale, it brings about little or no customer satisfaction, it increases risk and bring about rework, and finally schedule delay. These are the impact of poor quality in our project. Is that clear, please? Then Now that there is impact of poor quality, what could be the impact of having a high quality in our project? The impact of having a high quality in our project is that number one, it increases productivity. Should I go on, please?
Yes, sir. Please.
Number one, it increases productivity. Number two, yes, you want to say something? Hello, Mr. Berry.
Yeah, you said should you go? You said should you go on? Yes, you can go on. No problem.
All right, thank you. Then number two, it brings about high morale. It brings about high morale. Please just give me 1 minute, please. Excuse me, 1 minute. All right, so sorry. Hello, can you hear me? All right. It's a case of prevention over inspection. I, I discovered that I was not charging my Wi-Fi, and I got the signal that oops, so I don't want it to disrupt connection. So I quickly look for it to be charged. So sorry for that time. So I was trying to mention the impact of high quality in our project. I said that it increases productivity, and I also mentioned it brings about high morale. Then also it increases customer satisfactions. It brings about schedule effectiveness. It decreases risk. It decreases the risk. It brings about schedule effectiveness. Then lastly, it increased costs. It increased costs. Take note. You discover that I purposely left that for last. Poor quality increase costs, and high quality also increase costs. So which means achieving quality in your project, you shouldn't all in the name of trying to achieve quality, you go to the minds of trying to make sure you do not spend money. If for instance you need to train somebody to be able to get a very good quality output of work from that person, then you should go the extra mile to spend that money for training the person. So that is why, but take note, the amount of money you will spend when there is lack of quality is much more higher than the amount of money you will spend when you are trying to achieve quality. And that now takes us to some various misconceptions in this quality management. For instance, what do you say is the difference between quality and grade? Yes, Wale, what will you say is the difference between quality and grade? Okay. All right. Let's hear from Lola. Lola, what about you? What will you say is the difference between quality and grade? Now you know what quality is. Can you tell us about grade? Can you speak up a little, please? Okay, Mr. Kadiri, let's hear from you. Hello, Mr. Kadiri, are you there? Okay, Mr. Iberi, can you hear me? Let's hear from you. Hello, Mr. Iberi, are you there? Yes, I can hear you. Yes, go on. All right. Um, I think to all right, from what we said, if you look at what Wale and Lola said, all right, you will discover that like what Wale said, immersion component. All right. I want to assume that by component it simply means probably the features. All right. When we talk about grade is specifically more like those classifications of your deliverables, categorizations, or the classification of your deliverables or your resources that indicate a common functionality but have various technical specifications. That is grade. All right. It's like the ranking, categorization, or classification of your deliverables. But in that classification, you discover that yes, they have common functionalities but different technical specifications. A practical example is, for instance, you remember in the days of Nokia 3310, then after Nokia 3310, you now discover that a time came we have Nokia Lumion. Nokia Lumion was an expensive version, but they are the same Nokia product that can carry out basic functionalities like receiving calls, making calls, sending text messages, and others. But Nokia Lumia had more functionalities than Nokia 3310. But now you can't say that Nokia 3310 does not have quality. But in comparison with Nokia Lumia, you can say that Nokia 3310 has lesser grade. So which means grade is not a is not maybe because you have high grade, you now use that to determine quality. All right. Even projects or products that have low grade also have high quality. So if we go back again, grade is the categorization or the classifications of whatever deliverables you are having that have a common functionality but different technical specifications. That is great. So we can't come now and say, well, between Nokia 3310 and Nokia Lumion has more quality than Nokia 3310. But rather, it can be Nokia Lumion has more grade than Nokia 3310. So take note, lesser grade simply means that that product has less option, or low grade simply means that that product has less features or options. High grade simply means that that product has what? More features or options. So, but if you look at this my small table, you will discover that grade determines the quality. If high grade is combined with high quality, your product will be good. If high grade, irrespective of the number of features or components you have in that product, if it has low quality, it simply means it will come out bad. Right? Low grade simply means, well, probably it has lesser features, but with high quality in mind, it simply means good. But even that low grade that have lesser features with low quality in mind, it simply means the product will be bad. So take note, the which means quality cannot be compromised, even if the grade are much. So for instance, you are building a component or a product that have plenty functionalities, but you are not meeting the customer's requirement based on that functionality, you will discover that the outcome will automatically become bad. So therefore, quality cannot be compromised. Then we also have another misconception, the difference between precision and accuracy. It has been stated that accuracy is the assessment of correctness, while precision is the measure of exactness. Now, I want you to look at these two paper targets. All right, look at these two paper targets between shooter A and shooter B. The question is, which one of the two can be trained to be a world-class shooter? Yes, Godwin. Which one of the two can be trained to become a world-class shooter? Yes, why did you say so, please? Why did you choose B? Okay. Well, your explanation is correct, but your conclusion is wrong. When you look at these two shooters, all right, when we look at these two shooters, take note. Looking at shooter A and shooter B, all right, you discover that number one, shooter A, to a large extent, was accurate. Why? Because he was able to hit the bull's eye. All right, he was able to what? Hit the bull's eyes. Okay, now, but among his shots, the number of times he tried to hit the bull's eyes, out of 5, he was only able to get that one. So which means we can say that shooter A is accurate for getting the bull's eye, but he was not precise enough to have more shots at the bull's eyes. Shooter B, being the fact that he was not accurate in hitting the bull's eye, but he was precise enough to hit a particular location. Now, what is the argument? The argument now is that in project, accuracy is good, but precision is far better. Imagine in a kind of project where you keep repeating a particular procedure to get results. The result in each of those procedures must be precise. So we can't say that, well, because you got it the first time and you can manage the second one or the third one. No, at each instance, it must be exact. That is why if you walk into any departmental shop, for example, you want to buy laptop, you discover that that particular specification of laptop, anywhere you go around the world to buy that particular specification, must be exact. That is the concept of precision. So which means you as a project manager, yes, accuracy is good, yes, that is for the layman, but for you, precision is your focus. Getting it once right and consistently getting it right. Is that clear, please? So that's all right. So you can see these are different quality experts and what they did. Please take note for the purpose of exam. All these quality experts, all these are the things they did. The 14-point and 7 deadly disease of management, the plan, do, check out. So Dr. Walter Edwin Demning is the founder of plan, do, check out. So the concept of plan, do, check out was postulated by this particular theory expert. All right. The concept of fitness for use was done by Joseph M. Juran. All right. So the purpose of this is for you to just know some of the experts and what they did. Philip B. Crosby, he talks more about quality is free and zero defects. Get it right the first time. So just take note of it for the purpose of exam. All right. Now let's now look at the project management process to achieve quality. You must plan for quality, which is under planning, you manage quality, which is under executing, and you control quality, which is under monitoring and controlling. All right. Just like I will often say during planning for quality, I will often say that when we are planning quality, we are easily like we are saying that yes, we want to have a meeting of all the people involved in the project so that we can focus on defining quality for the project and the product and planning how to achieve that quality. So the planning stage of your project, which is plan quality management, that is the aspect where you sit down and plan this quality standard or requirement for the product and project, and it will be documented on how it will be what achieved. That is the planning stage. So whatever measures of quality that you want to achieve in the project must be agreed upon by the customer and the project managers. And that is why in some instances I've seen where the customer tells you that, well, for me, quality is when you can achieve A, B, C, and D. Even if you did not achieve D, I'm okay, I'm satisfied. That becomes quality. And that is why we defined earlier that it is what the degree. So who determines that degree? The customers. So that must be planned and agreed upon. So when that is agreed upon, it now becomes a document that provides guidance and direction on how quality will be managed and validated throughout the project. That is what quality, plan quality management. All right. So it is more like trying to standardize what the quality procedure will be. You define all the processes based on the activities and how it will be achieved. All right, please take note the specific measures to be made will be also be determined. And take note the project manager champions this plan quality. All right, the project managers champions this plan quality. So what do we want to achieve? We want to achieve a quality management plan which become a document that will guide us, and a quality matrix. What is a quality matrix in this case? Those items that have been documented as a guide, those discussions and agreements that have been made with respect to what quality achievement means in the project becomes quality matrix. Example, as we mentioned, if 1 to 5 you are able to achieve 1 to 4, that is quality. If this happen, that is all those metrics, all those items stated by the customer which become a measure to achieving quality, they are referred to as what? Quality metrics. It becomes very important to the project manager because it is key in ensuring that it is what achieved. All right. So now, if you look at some, or if you look at the screen, there are some new tools and techniques that we are going to explain. All right, new tools and techniques. All right, that we are going to explain. Please, we will look at that shortly. All right, let's look at the first one: cost benefit analysis. How do cost benefit analysis relate to quality management? Yes, Mr. Kadiri, are you there? Hello, Mr. Kadiri. All right. So, cost benefit analysis. How does it relate to managing quality?
No, it's really about the cost, but it shows
Exactly. That's correct. All right. So, you discovered that the first time we talked about cost benefit analysis was the fundamentals. All right. So you still now discover that cost benefit analysis is also showing up here in terms of quality, which simply means whatever amount you are going to spend in ensuring that you achieve quality must be compared to the benefits you will get. So, which means you are going to first and foremost compare before you start spending the money. If we want to achieve this quality in this project now, what are we actually going to benefit by meeting this specific quality standard and in relation to the cost? All right. Example, you are building you have a building project, and part of one aspect of ensuring quality is to collect a license from maybe the government body. All right. Not not that kind of license after the building has fallen. That's when they will start running up and down. Following the normal due process. So you see that cost of quality is now like saying that the amount to collect license is 10 million. Now you are checking what is the impact of that 10 million to this project. That cost, what will it benefit us? Now we want to achieve quality and we want to spend 10 million just like that because we want to achieve quality. What is the impact? What is the benefit of that quality we want to achieve to the project with respect to the cost, or with regard to the cost we are going to expend? That becomes your cost benefit analysis. Then cost of quality. Cost of quality in this case simply explain to us that the amount of money we are going to spend, in preventing non-conformance to quality, the amount of money we are going to spend in preventing non-conformance to quality, or ensuring that there is conformance to quality. That amount of money we are going to spend to prevent non-conformance to quality, or we are spending it to ensure that there is conformance to quality, is what we refer to as what? Cost of quality. Please take note. All these are plenty grammar. Please take note. When we talk about cost of quality, I will explain further with a table. The cost implication that you are preventing in terms of conformance to requirement, you are trying to prevent rework. And that can lead to what we refer to as failure costs. And under failure costs, it can be categorized into internal failure costs or external failure costs. And in a nutshell, failure cost is simply refers to as what? Cost of poor quality in your projects. Now, all this plenty grammar in this place, I will try and use this small illustration here. So, cost of quality mathematically, you can say that cost of quality mathematically is equals to cost of conformance plus cost of non-conformance. Now, the question is, what is the cost of conformance? I've told you what conformance means. Simply means we are meeting the specification according to the customer's request. Non-conformance, oh, we did not meet the specification according to the customer's request. So now, if we now define this term, cost of conformance, this cost of conformance, look at the definition under here, is the amount of money spent during the project to avoid failures. That is what? Cost of conformance. Because you want to ensure that everything is okay and you meet the customer specification, that amount of money you will spend to meet that specification is what we refer to as what? Cost of conformance. Then the amount of money you spend, this is cost of non-conformance. The amount of money you spend during and after the project because of failure is called cost of non-conformance. Is that clear? Then each have different category. Under cost of conformance, it can be divided into prevention cost and appraisal cost. What is prevention cost? As you can see on the screen, the cost that has to do with building a quality product. So as it sounds, prevention cost, you don't want the problem to happen because you want to build a quality product. So you decide to say, you know what, let me organize in-house training because I want to prevent that error. Oh, let me follow through my document processes very well. Ensure that my processes for my documentation is okay. I don't want any issue. They are right. I have the right documentation to start the project. Number two, equipment. You have the right equipment, especially the required equipment for that particular project. You have the right equipment, and the time to do it, you are doing everything the right time. That is what prevention cost. So all these are examples of prevention cost. Then under appraisal cost as a sound when you talk about assessment or assessing the quality. Example, you bought material, just like as Godwin was mentioning the errors from the Ikoyi twin towers that fall down, one of the towers that fall down. You see that appraisal cost is assessing the quality, which means the materials to be used is tested. Like in Lagos State, they have a testing center for material. So that is an appraisal cost. Or you decide to do regular inspection. That is an appraisal cost. All these things cost money. It will going to cost you money to test materials. Lagos State will not tell you, will not say come and test your material for free. You're going to test it with money and collect certification for it that you tested. You bring external body to come and check, to come and inspect. You're going to pay money for that inspection. All this comes as an appraisal cost. So you can see that in total, cost of conformance is what the money you spend during the project because you don't want any failure. We call it cost of conformance, which can either be prevention cost or appraisal cost. Then under cost of non-conformance, we said that is the money you spend during and after the project because the failure has already occurred, which can be categorized into internal failure costs. That is the failures found by the project team. When the project team found an error, it can lead to a rework or probably becomes a scrap. So let's forget about it. It has happened, it has happened. Example, the building that fell, the towers that fell, the Ikoyi building that fell. You discover that people went there and picked the ions, picked the materials, they destroyed everything. It becomes what? A scrap. That is internal failure cost. Why? Because the team did not do the right thing. Then the second one is external failure cost. Failures found by the customer. If it was the customer that discovered that failure, what will it cost you as a project manager? It will cost you liability. You spend more. You spend more. And warranty and loss of business. You may not get recommendation from any other person. Because I was not satisfied, the customer was not satisfied, he's most likely not going to recommend you to any other person. That's loss of business. It is a cost. And there are some people that have not gotten more contract because of the external failure cost. The customer was not satisfied and it led to loss of business. All right. We have seen instance, just mentioning your name and your business brand. Some customer will say, lie, that cannot work. That person, if you know what that person has done, this is that becomes loss of business, unknowing to you. All right. I hope that is clear. Hello, Godwin, is it clear? All right. Lola, is that clear, please? Hello, Lola, are you there? All right. So this next slide is more like a detailed explanation to what we just said. So it's for you to just read and check with more examples. All right. So we have some tools and technique that is often used as it relates to quality. Control charts. I will leave these control charts because I will explain it later in details. Benchmarking. Yes. Mr. Ibere, what is benchmarking? Okay. Okay. Wale, do you agree with that? Hello, Wale, do you agree with that? Hello, Wale, are you there? Do you agree with that? Okay. Mr. Kadiri, do you agree with that? All right. Godwin, let me hear from Godwin. All right. Okay. According to what you just said now, Godwin, is actually control chart. All right. But when we talk about benchmarking, is actually what Mr. Kadiri just said. All right. Benchmarking is actually that technique when you look at others' projects to get idea for improvement on your own current project. That is benchmarking. Did you get that, Godwin? Hello, Godwin. Did you get that now? All right. So benchmarking is that technique used when you look at other projects to get ideas for improvement on the current project you are working on to produce or provide a basis to use in measuring quality performance. That is benchmarking. Example, you 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 want to set up or come up with a different project, all right? In that project you are coming up with, suddenly you discover that another organization already have that product. And you now decide to look at what the organization have and use it as a standard of measurement for yourself to create your own product. What have you done? You have benchmarked with that other organization. So it is that technique whereby you compare ideas to generate, you compare different organizations or different products to generate your own ideas for improvement or improving your own product you are working on or your own project that you are working on. which will now become a basis for measuring performance. That is what benchmarking. All right. Then statistical sampling. Yes, let me hear from Lola. Statistical sampling. What does statistical sampling means? Just freestyle. What do you think it means? Statistical sampling. Hello, Lola, are you there? Yeah, go on, please. Okay, all right. Um, Godwin, statistical sampling. What do you think it means? Hello, Godwin, are you there? All right, Mr. Kadiri. Stat yes, hello, Godwin. Yes. Okay. Mr. Kadiri, statistical sampling. What do you think it means? All right, exactly. But in addition to what you said, not based on the criteria you have said, all right, but strictly based on random, random sampling of a population. So if, for instance, um, you want to check the outcome of a result, all right, statistical sampling become a strategy or a tools or a technique that can be used. You know that you have a large population of data. Example, for instance, you want to check the quality of work done on hand sanitizer production and you have 2 million cartons, 2 million cartons, and you want to check the quality of work done on those hand sanitizer. You agree with me that within 3 months you will not finish the 2 million cartons. If you divide 2 million cartons by 6 months, by 2 months or 3 months, that's 90 days. You still know the amount you have to do to finish a day. So you see that in such a case, statistical sampling is that technique that is used by the project manager to randomly select a portion of the entire population. All right, a portion of the entire population for testing. All right. So now, but the point here is that random selection of that entire population. is what we refer to as what? Statistical sampling. Now, the next thing I would also like you to note, why do we use statistical sampling? We use statistical sampling on the basis where the information or data to be sampled are too large. That's number one. Number two, the cost for that sampling of those data are too much. And number three, it will be too destructive. That becomes the basis for using statistical sampling. Why? Probably 2 million cartons of hand sanitizer. It will take you too long before you can finish checking for quality one after the other. It will take you too much of your resources. And that takes us back to why we said precision is your key focus. All right. So if you discover that at the beginning you planned in for precision, which is the measure of exactness, when it comes to sampling or checking for quality at the end of the day in your product that has been created by the project, you have little or no errors to detect. That is statistical sampling. Then we also have tools like flowcharts. All right, it's the graphical representation of your processes that flows. It shows the relationship and the processes involved. That is what your flowchart. All right, as you can see on the screen, this is a practical example of your flowchart. And now, what is the essence of having a flowchart? So that all the processes will be what? Properly followed. And when all the processes are properly followed, there's likely room for errors or non-conformance because we are following the flow charts. I hope that is clear, please. All right. So that is it. All these are different tools that can be used when we talk about our managing of quality. So we're going to emphasize some things as it relates to Six Sigma and JIT. What is the concept of JIT? JIT is commonly used in the quality management environment because it gives room for proper quality management. And JIT simply represents just in time. All right, the JIT concept is to make sure that the cost of inventory of materials is taken care of. So for instance, you only have need of your resources when it is time to use those resources. That gives room for what? Quality. And we call it just in time. Yes, yes. Now, the concept of JIT, which is just in time, is that concept that you find that holding raw materials in inventory becomes too expensive. Instead, you have to supply those materials just when they are needed or just before they are needed. And this decreases inventory to a zero cost. Example, just like you are in the construction field, all right, and you want to use blocks and they supply all the blocks or iron rod 6 months before usage of that particular iron rod or blocks. you discover that the time it takes, or the time and resources for protecting that blocks and iron rod, is costing. And it is possible that the organization may be exposed to thievery. We have seen that the security man later on, after 2 months, is tired. It's like a management will not use this rod again. Oh. It take from inside the rod and go and sell. That becomes a problem associated with quality. But just in time, GIT technique is saying that this technique is mostly used when you are trying to ensure that the quality of material used is actually used at the time it is needed. Instead of bringing the block, keep it one place, rain start beating it, and other damages happen before you start using it. Then the concept of just in time is what defeated. I don't know if that is clear. So just in time is used to achieve high level of quality in your work. Is that clear, please? All right. So let's go to other things that I think you must pay attention to. Please take note. All these things I'm taking time to explain their exam questions. Now, and if you don't understand, just tell me you don't understand. I will try and explain it again. If I cannot explain it again, you just give me some minutes. Let me go and drink water. I will come back and I will explain it again. All right. Then we also have another technique, or another thing that I also need you to know as regards to quality methodology, which is the aspect of Six Sigma or Lean Six Sigma, because it's also very important. And what brought about this concept of Sigma? The concept of Sigma actually came because it was discovered that the level of wastage in following due processes in achieving production or in achieving quality becomes too much. And also because it has been agreed upon that it is the customer that determines quality. So if you meet a customer that wants to take bribe and tell you that just do the road like that, pour concrete, pour everything, give me 50% of the money, take the remaining 50%, just pour it like that and go. Am I not the one that will sign that is okay? Because that person has agreed that that is his level of quality. But to the user of the road, that may not be even close to what quality is. Hence, the need for the Lean or the Sigma. So the Sigma methodology came into existence because of the level of defects that have been experienced in our deliverables. And now, Six Sigma methodology is actually to reduce, please take note of the word, is actually to what? Reduce the defects experienced in our deliverable. Why the concept of lean is to reduce wastage by what? Streamlining processes. So for instance, I am trying to streamline a processes. Then what am I trying to do? I'm employing the use of lean. Some time ago in this country, the ease of doing business was very hectic. A government came in and decided to reduce the ease of doing business, especially for the foreign organizations. And part of their structure or strategy is to streamline the process. And that is why now you can from US create and apply for your CAC documentation and it will be approved to you. When you are ready to come and operate your business in Nigeria, you come in. But before it wasn't so. That is part of the process of the concept of what streamlining a process. So also in the quality process you have defined for your organization, when you discover that you are not achieving the right result, what are you expected to do? You are to streamline the process. And that brings us to the concept of Lean Six Sigma, which say that solving a problem by reducing the defects in the problem and improving your processes. So the concept of Lean Six Sigma is efficient in solving your problem and continuous improvement on your processes. Now, it has been observed, please take note of this for the purpose of your exam. It has been observed that there has been some Six Sigma benchmark. Take note, you may be wondering, excuse me, sir, what is Six Sigma? What are you cracking our brain for? Take note, Six Sigma is quality management methodology. It is that methodology that has been designed by quality experts to streamline all the defects experienced as a result of the end result or the outcome, because I'm trying to manage quality. That is the methodology of Six Sigma. All right. And over time, we have experienced Sigma 1, Sigma 2, Sigma 3, Sigma 4, Sigma 5, and Sigma 6. All these are the accuracy level. Now, in the methodology of Six Sigma, at the early stage of Sigma 1, it was agreed upon that, well, if you can achieve 68.26% of your quality work, then it is okay. Then the 31.74%, we don't mind having that waste. That was the concept of Sigma 1. So which means at the early stage before now, Sigma 1 concept is actually to accommodate 68% of quality work, and every other thing that is outside that can be forgone and be seen as waste. But over the years, there was an improvement on that process to Sigma 2, which says that, well, we can no longer accommodate production to have about 22 point something percent wastage. Rather, let's reduce it. You see now the same concept, reduction by streamlining the process. Let's reduce it by improving on achieving 95% accuracy level. So which means 4.53% or 54% wastage can be tolerated. Then that leads to improving on the process, which leads to the third Sigma, which says that, well, that 4.54% tolerance, we cannot take it anymore. It's use waste of energy and effort. Let's streamline our process to make sure we can achieve 99.73% level of accuracy on all our deliverables. And that has been the level of the third Sigma. So which means 0.27% wastage can be accommodated, which means 0.27% defect can be accommodated. The organization and the experts look at it again and say, well, technology has improved. I think there is need for us to improve to Six Sigma. That we can no longer tolerate that 0.27% defect in our production or our deliverables. Let's ensure we reduce and streamline our process to the barest minimum. And that is why the current level of methodology in our Sigma is what? 99.99% level of accuracy, which means 0.000001% level of defect can be tolerated. That is why you will see in some production, they will tell you that 99.99.99% accurate. The reason why they are telling you that, they are indirectly telling you that, yes, so in case you come across any of our products or any of our deliverable that have any defect, is as a result of that 0.0001% tolerance level of accommodating any defect. That is the Sigma benchmark, and it's still in operational till today. So for the purpose of exam, just know that Sigma 6 accommodates just know that Sigma 6 accommodates 99.99% level of accuracy. Know that 3 Sigma accommodate 99.73% level of accuracy. Hello, can you all hear me? Hello, can you hear me?